Hey, we live. We live. Hey, that's an ass whooping. Listen, there ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's not even the need to continue watching the game, right? And granted, yes, Florida, 1 seed, Prairie View, 16 seeds. I get it. But just coming off the loss that the boys just had versus Vanderbilt in the SEC tournament, you wanted to see some type of comeback. You wanted to see, some type of rebound, right? How this team was going to look going into tournament play. And listen, the boys are back. The boys are back in action. They are putting on a BTA performance, right? In regards to what we're watching right now in the tournament. And the game's still going on. The game's still going on, but we all know this game is long gone. This game is over. So let's kind of dive into that first half. Let's dive into what Iowa's going to look like. Let's dive into what the rest of the 20 is going to look like, right? Brief intermission. 1 second. Let me just do something real quick. All right. Just some quick technical issues. But hey, this performance really says a lot about Florida. And I'm not trying to be, too over the top with it. Obviously, we know what the matchup is, but if you're just judging the performance of Florida in regards to how they look, how they're about to bag, this was nice to see. This was nice to see for sure. This is a team where you could tell Coach Todd Golden really emphasized getting those easy buckets and attacking the boards, crashing the boards, really being dominant on the glass, right? Because they've been eating in the paint all game. Our bigs have been eating in the paint all game, right? You think about, Thomas Howell, you think about Condon, you think about Chinlelu, like those guys have been dominant. You can even tell that Prairie View didn't even want to drive to the basket. I don't even know if they even got a bucket as of right now, currently constituted while the game is going on in the paint, right? This is a Florida team that's really been, you know, putting their stamp on where they're going to be dominant. I remember last year we were led by the guards. We were led by our backcourt with Walter Clayton in the game. Now our front court, our more experienced part of the team, the guys that have been here, the guys that I even said it, like if we're gonna win the back to back, just like we did, with the Joakim Noah, Corey Brewer days with that team, Al Horford days. If we're gonna do that again, we have to be led by our front court, right? And the front court is putting on really a dominant performance right now, and it's good to see. It's good to see. And listen, we got a couple people here. Drop a comment. Let me know what you guys think. This is we're talking Gators, right? This is a form of Athletes Forum podcast. We're also with College Sports Group, but we're talking Gators, right? Now, give credit to Prairie View because they came out knowing that they weren't going to get a lot of points in the paint. So what did they do? They started shooting from three, and granted, and kudos to them. Those threes were hitting. Those threes are hitting. So what I kind of want to see for adjustment, what was Todd Golden going to do? Were we gonna add a little bit more pressure, right? And force them to take the ball up court right from the inbounds, right? What were they going to do to combat or really put pressure on the perimeter on our perimeter defense, right? Because I think they made probably like six in a row at one point, right? Six in a row at one point. So what they did was they went to a 3-2 defense. They went to a 3-2 defense. They started switching all screens, right? And they were active on the glass, right? Just like they've been all year. People forget, even though this is a Florida team that started off slow, this is a Florida team that's played the fifth hardest schedule in college basketball this past season. So if anything, we're definitely battle tested. If anything, this is a team that could rebound off of the type of loss that we had versus Vanderbilt in the SEC tournament. Florida didn't play well in the SEC tournament. A lot of turnovers, weren't shooting well from the field. I think it was less than 30%, right? So they had to get those things fixed, right? And they got those things fixed, and you could tell in this game that they did that, right? Now, I think it was probably around the 4-minute and 29-second mark where I was kind of really done with this game. I just got to be frank. I was really done with the game around that part. I think Xavier Lee just got off hitting the three. Next time they got the ball, Boogie came down, hit a mid-range jumper. He was 5 for 5 and 11 points at that point, right? And going into halftime, this is some of the craziest stats I've seen. Going into halftime, right? we had 4 players in double digits. Going into halftime, we were a team that Prairie View had 21 points total, right? 21 points total. We had 30 points in the paint alone, right? 30 points in the paint alone, right? So that just shows the dominance that this Florida team had. That just shows that they weren't taking this game lightly, right? The Gators weren't using this or trying to get by. No, we wanted to prove that, yes, we are that team that went on a 12-game win streak, won the SEC championship before going to the SEC tournament, and obviously seeing how all that panned out, right? We are refreshed. We are revitalized, right? And we are ready to make this run. Florida Gators are ready to make this run. It was really a block party in the paint, right? It was really, we were really taking advantage of everything. They couldn't do anything. Chinlilu literally, crashing the boards, and nobody could do anything about it, right? No one could do anything about it. Let me check here. Who are the leaders right now for the Gators, right? Chinlilu, 13 rebounds, 12 of them on defense alone, right? Right? Boogie, right? 16 points. He's perfect. 6 from 6, and he's 2 for 2 from the free throw line, right? We're currently up by 54 points. This game has been long gone. Right? So now that we know that, right? Let's kind of focus on Iowa, right? Let's kind of focus on the next round. But we have a chat. We have someone in the chat. Who we got? We got my man Sean in the chat. Sean, welcome to Talking Gators, my friend. SEC looks tough, with exception of Georgia. Florida looks like a number one overall seed. Florida looks like a true 1 seed. And again, you're gonna say, not you, but anyone could say, like, yeah, it's a 1 versus 16, right? Ask Duke how that happened, right? Arizona dominated, right? They took care of business. Michigan, they took care of business. But just because you're a 1 seed doesn't mean you're always going to dominate, right? So Florida's doing what they're supposed to be doing, and they're looking good doing it as well too. Right, I agree with you. SEC looks good, except for Georgia. It's something going on in those Georgia waters, right? Let's kind of shift our focus to Iowa Gators. All right, let's shift our focus to Iowa. Iowa just coming off a win versus Clemson, right? 67-61 win versus Clemson. Iowa is a team got into the tournament 21-12 in the Big Ten. It's really 500 in conference play, right? Not a lot of big wins on schedule, right? They did get a win versus UCLA. They got a real close loss versus Iowa State earlier in the year. But you look at some of their other wins, Indiana, Washington, Nebraska, that was a big win. But they lost a lot of their big-time ranked matchups, right? Lose to Michigan State 71-52. Lose to Iowa State 66-62. We just point that out. Lost to Illinois 75-69. Lost to Purdue 79-72. Lost to Purdue again 78-57. Got blown out. Lost to Nebraska close. No, they beat Nebraska, right? But they lost to Washington or Wisconsin 84-71. Lost to Michigan. Lost to Nebraska. Like, Iowa's really not is a team that, listen, they didn't have a great shooting night versus Clemson. Listen, they were led by Ben Sturritz, right? 16 points, right? Shot like shit from the field, right? And if they're going to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to continue to – that really kind of falls into what the Gators do best, right? It falls right into our lap, right? Because we're going to be there to get the rebounds and we're going to push the ball. Xavier Lee, Boogie Floyd, they're going to push Boogie Flynn. They're going to push the ball upfield. Our bigs are going to run. Condon's going to run. Thomas is going to run, right? So if anything, we want Iowa to play that game where they're taking those outside shots, especially if they're not shooting well. And all season, this is not really a team that has shot well from the perimeter anyway, right? So they want to play that game. That falls right into our lap. The one thing about Florida is that they could kind of play in multiple ways. They could run the floor. They could slow it down, right? They could press you off the ball. They could play you from the 3-point line and on both sides, right? Offensively and defensively as well too, right? So there's going to be an emphasis really throughout the whole tournament because our strength is our front court of crashing the glass, right? And if we want to play a team like Iowa that wants to try to shoot from range, even though that's not maybe their strength, it falls right into our hands. I like our matchup. Versus Iowa. And not only that, and I don't want to look too far ahead. We get to Sweet 16 territory, but give me that rematch versus Vanderbilt. Yes, sir. Give me that rematch versus Vanderbilt. Because, listen, that last game versus Vanderbilt, Florida, I'm not going to make up any excuses. They beat us. They got it. But now, the real tourney's about to start. The real tourney is about to get into play here, right? Because now it's win or go home. Now there's no security blanket underneath you where if you lose, okay, at least I got more to play. No, if you lose, it's over. It's night, right? Let's go back to the chat. What my man Sean say, right? Iowa needs an ugly game, hit shots and control tempo, pray for a miracle. Yeah, they have to make it an ugly game, right? They got to make the refs, call the fouls. They got to make the refs, right, slow the game down, right? They got to play physical. But guess what? Florida could play that game too. Now, don't get me wrong. We could play that game on our front court. Our back court, it'll be interesting how their guards play. I'm not going to lie. It'll be interesting how Iowa's guards play as it compares to our front court, right? But like I said, we could play in multiple different ways. Right? We could push the ball, right? We could slow it down, right? We could throw the alley-oop game, right? Just ask Xavier and Lee to who was that, Condon or Howe that just did a putback not too long ago. I think it was Thomas Howe. Like, listen, we are a team that can win in multiple ways, that is flexible in different types of ways, and I'm excited about especially this matchup that we're going to get Sunday. All right, I'm not sure what time the game is going to be Sunday, but I'm excited to see what that matchup is going to look like. Right? Listen, Florida, again, taking care of business. The game's almost over. We're up 98-45, right? If anything, let's rest the guys up, right? Let's get ready for Iowa. Let's get ready to make this run. Listen, we're talking Gators, right? This is a new segment, part of Athletes Forum podcast, also brought to you by College Sports Crew, right? Where we are going to be targeting on, yes, our favorite team, right? The University of Florida and Gators athletics, right? So, Gator fans, if you're here, drop a comment. Let's talk about it. I know there's a lot of excitement for college football, right? But we have to live in the now. And the now right now is college basketball. The now right now is college baseball, which we'll get to. And by the way, my guy Sean comments in the chat, does Chasing Omaha, where he talks baseball, especially SEC baseball. That'll be coming out on Tuesdays or Wednesdays, right? So keep an eye out for that and subscribe to the channel, right? One more comment before we head out of here. All right, my guy Sean says Florida by 10 to 15 unless Iowa catches fire. Yeah, I agree with that. Especially after this performance, I agree with that. I would say we could definitely take care of it. And I think what that Vanderbilt loss did to us, I think it revitalized us. It's going to give us a new Florida. It's going to give us March Madness Florida. It's going to give us going on back-to-back championship run Florida. This is a Florida team that is motivated, and we are in a bracket that's really kind of favorable, for us, right? I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. I'm just, I'm excited, but I'm kind of seeing like what it looks like. I think let's get past Iowa first. Let's get past Iowa first, and let's see how everything pans out. But yes, Vanderbilt woke Florida up, right? And that could be bad news for everyone else, right? Talking Gators, Athletes Forum podcast. Drop a comment. Let me know what you guys think. Let's talk ball. Go Gators.